Good morning, UUMAN. I am your worship associate today, a member of this congregation. My name's Amanda Brawley. And on behalf of Reverend Dave, our music director, Alex Peach, our director of religious exploration, Lexi, and the dedicated technical team making today's live stream possible, I'd like to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Metro Atlanta North congregation, which we like to call UUMAN. No matter who you are, who you love, or where you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. We are in the middle of spring break, but we're curious if anybody here on the right is visiting with us for the first time, and if so, if you're comfortable standing up and letting us know your name. Yes.
Talk loud, but I'll go ahead and do this. My name is Tim Rainey. I live in East Cobb. I don't know. I could go on forever, so don't give me a mic. Past 10 years, I was a member of One World Spiritual Center. Now I'm just, they kind of folded, so I'm just out shopping, if you want to say.
No, we are not. Welcome, Tim. How about on my left? Any first-time visitors who would like to tell us your name and where you're from? Okay, welcome. We do have a few adult enrichment offerings this morning, which I call Sunday school. In your bulletin, you will also see these. We have the Sunday service reflection, Breeze Boot Camp for committee chairs, and spiritual cinema. Youth Religious Exploration is offering playgroup at 10 a.m. in the other building on campus. Your young ones, if you have them here today, they might already be there. And now for some announcements. For the first time at UUMAN, we are sending a young adult to General Assembly in Pittsburgh. So Unitarians have a gathering every year to do its business. It's called General Assembly. This year it's in Pittsburgh. And we would like to help fund Mira Peller-Kosbar's her trip there to represent UUMAN. So please help us in supporting our connection with the wider UU faith, and donating you can donate reward points for air travel or lodging, and you can also donate using the Givelify app, which we use for our tithing and whatnot. And there is a subheading for her called YA to GA. If you have any questions about that, ask somebody who looks like they have been here for a while. Next Sunday, April 9th, will be our annual flower communion service. Please feel free to bring a flower or two or three, and you will leave with a flower lovingly brought by another person attending church. This is one of our annual traditions, and please join us in that. So I'm going to go also to next Sunday, which is Easter Sunday, and we are very excited because the operations team has been working very hard to make sure that our sanctuary and our foyer are ready. Yes. Yes, gasping. But we also need your help. On Friday and Saturday, we will need to be getting the sanctuary ready for Easter service and the foyer ready. So you'll check out the announcements to know exactly when to come and help that out. Also, I'm going to bring Susan Wilson up here from operations so she can tell you about some more work that we need many hands, make light work. So please come up.
Tomorrow we're also having a crew of professional gardeners come in and start working on cleaning up our front yard. They're going to be mostly focusing on the shrubs, cutting the shrubs down, taking out the ones that died in our cold winter. So they'll give us a good start getting the garden in order, but there'll be lots more to do. We're having a load of wood chips delivered either Monday or Tuesday, and we want those moved out as mulch. So there'll be another UUMAN announcement about that opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, but that's tomorrow?
It'll be sometime after tomorrow.
Okay. I would like Gus Haydorn to please come to the witness stand.
Good morning. My name is Gus Haydorn, and greetings from Earth Ministry. Wanted to mention that the 22nd of this month is Earth Day. Very special day for me. My daughter Rose was born on that day. And how about that, a name for Earth Day? But Earth Ministry is sponsoring a photo contest because we want to see your sense of awe and wonder as it relates to the outside world. And we're going to do a contest for the kids and a contest for the adults. And what we're asking is that you take 2 photos, one of that features your species, but another that features something else in the natural world that connects with your heart and soul, and send it to the address, which I will post close to the solar panel later today. And we'll receive those, and then we'll share those photos with the audience and put it on a loop. And so we look forward to that. And Dirk, by the way, thank you so much for your help. If you have any questions, give me, see me. I'll be happy to give you more detail.
Thank you, Gus. Last but not least, Donna Melcher.
And my sidekick. Hi, everybody. I'm Donna Melcher, and I'm excited to be here with John Pruitt and talking about the Spring Revival, which is going to be happening the last weekend in April. You can see that there's a lot of activities that are lined up for Friday night, Saturday all day, and Sunday, April 30th, will be culminating the whole exciting adventure with a celebration of our elders. So everything on here is coded for you to be able to sign up for the events that you want to. And I want to thank so many people that have volunteered to teach classes and be with us. For instance, Bruce is going to be tending a fire for the whole weekend, our sacred fire. If you'd like to know the difference between a sacred fire and a social fire, you can look down here to read all about it. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, and everything is in our newsletter for this month, so you can read even more about it. But here you can sign up too. So thank you, and hope to see you there.
We're having a revival. Doesn't get more churchy in the South than that. I love it. And now for our call to worship. Our chalice reminds us that the fire within ourselves is the same fire that illuminates the universe. It is our reminder that all is connected, even though the space of the void is vast, and our experience here is but a blip in the cosmic timeline. This flame is our promise that in our smallness and our short time on this earth, that we live intently and deeply with love for one another, with honesty and integrity, to be guided by rational thought and critical thinking, and with a sense of shared responsibility. For as the late astronomer Carl Sagan reminded us, this pale blue dot is the only home we've ever known. That was great. And please stand as you are willing and able and join us in singing hymn number 1002, Comfort Me.
Buddhism is a vehicle that can carry one to a yonder shore. Mahayana Buddhism is called the Great Vehicle. There's other different versions of Buddhism, but they're called a vehicle. They take you to a yonder shore. It could be a boat. It could be a ferry. A shore that lies beyond words, beyond reason. Let's say you are in Manhattan. And you know what? You're not feeling Manhattan. You want to go, you've heard about this place, like a garden of, like Nirvana, the Garden of Eden, which naturally you think about New Jersey, right? The Garden State. So you're in Manhattan, you're looking out over the Hudson River, and you want to go to that yonder shore over there. There's no bridges. There's no bridges. And you're like, boy, I wish there was like a ferry that I could take over to the Garden State, the garden, or to Nirvana. And sure enough, a ferry boat appears, and it lands right at your feet. And the ferryman says, anyone for Jersey? Anyone for the garden? And you just step right on board. The ferry boat captain says, are you sure you want to go? You do really want to commit to this? And yeah, you're done with Manhattan. You're done. So he gives you an oar, and you start rowing. You start rowing, and at first you feel really good. You're excited. You're on this new journey. You know, you've left those stupid people behind. You're enlightened. You know, you're on your way, and you're rowing. It's not that far to Jersey, right? But you're rowing, and you're rowing, and you're rowing, and rowing, and you don't. It seems to be taking a long time, and you're getting tired. You're getting very tired. And then you start thinking about the garden, New Jersey. You've never been there before. What's it like? I hope I made the right decision. You start to doubt yourself. So you're on your way. And what you're supposed to do while you're on your way is to get rid of your ego consciousness. That's part of Buddhism. But you know, when you're thinking about it, all you're doing is thinking about yourself. Am I doing this right? Am I improving? Am I progressing? Are we getting closer? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? It's all about, seems to be all about me, even though you're supposed to be giving all this up. Geez, I feel like I'm on the wrong path. That's what you're saying. And after what seems like forever, your boat finally makes shore. Oh my goodness. It took many, many moons to get here. But finally, you're in Jersey, the garden. And when you step off the boat, you turn around to look back in Manhattan to the other shore, and there is no other shore. And there is no boat. There is no river. And actually, it feels like you're back in Manhattan again. And kind of you are. And Manhattan hasn't changed, but you have. All that was required was a change of perspective.
is the point, now's the time in our service when we share our joys to magnify them and our sorrows to divide the weight of their pain. If you feel moved, please come forward. Drop a pebble in the bowl. Express a joy or sorrow into this microphone here. And for those of you attending live stream, please share in the chat this morning. I believe Bruce will help announce them. I will begin. Some of you know that I was married when I was much younger, and I lovingly call him my husband. And Andres let me know that he's in the hospital. He has some sort of obstruction in his abdomen, so we're going to go visit him after this. And so that's one pebble. A pebble of joy. My daughter Lucia is a huge basketball fan, and she's at LSU, and the Lady Tigers are going to the final or the national championship. On March 16th, my grandfather, Danny Neal Sr., passed away. He was 89 years old, and he had a very difficult upbringing. A younger brother died when he was just 3. His father died when he was only 8. You know, a very tumultuous kind of youth. He was married before marrying my grandmother and had a 2-year-old daughter that died. And even out of all of that, he was able to create a beautiful life with my grandmother. They had 5 children, 11 grandchildren, and at current count, 23 great-grandchildren. And once again, this week, we were faced with another headline: more senseless gun violence, more innocent lives lost. And I know that I'm feeling very helpless and overwhelmed, and I had to field a call from my 19-year-old daughter. And there are just no words.
My name is Shelley, and I'm a member of this congregation. My 49-year-old son has an ongoing health issue that resulted in this weekend his being, he had to go to the emergency room and spent the night in the hospital, and the doctors are not being extremely helpful, but he's having a really hard time. But he is going home from the hospital today.
John Wheeler is in the hospital today. He's having some health challenges. It's been hard to figure out what's going on. So he's in North Fulton, and hopefully he'll only be there today, but we're not sure about that.
Dropping a final? Yes, Bruce.
So we have Steve Allerton reporting sorrow for his friend Larry Price, who passed away on March 25th. And Dave Pregel reports his mother moved in with his sister in their new home in Eastern Maryland about a month ago. She's adapting very well and seems much happier. And Miriam Patanian says her in-laws were in a car accident this week. Her mother-in-law is okay, John's mother, but her father-in-law broke his knee He's 89 and in poor health. He's hospitalized and not yet able to walk. John stayed home for a second spring break in a row to help them.
And a final pebble for those joys and sorrows too tender for us to speak. Be Ours a Religion by Theodore Parker. Be ours a religion, which, like sunshine, goes everywhere. Its temple, all space. Its shrine, the good heart. Its creed, all truth. Its ritual, works of love. Its profession of faith, divine living.
Buddhism was brought from India to China in the 5th century by a man named Bodhidharma. And in China, it was called meditative state, which in Chinese means, is said with the word Chan, Chan Buddhism. And then when Chan Buddhism in China made its way to Japan, the Chan translates as Zen, okay, which you've probably heard of. There are many different threads of Zen, just like there are in Christianity. There's many different threads of Zen and Buddhism in general. But for all the threads of Zen, the 10 ox herding pictures generally describe the path to enlightenment for a Zen practitioner. So during this sermon, I'm going to be talking about each one of these pictures individually, and after I introduce it, Amanda is going to read a very brief poem about that picture. Okay. These poems were written by the South Korean Zen monk Master Kusan, and from his book, The Way of Korean Zen. Picture number 1 is Seeking the Ox.
High mountains, deep waters, and a dense jungle of grass. However much you try, the way to proceed remains unclear. To alleviate this sense of frustration, listen to the chirping of cicadas.
Seeking the Ox is usually a picture of a young man wandering through a nature scene. Something's not right. What's wrong with my life? Why am I unhappy? I'm searching for something, but for what? I do a lot of stuff. I try to be active, and there's nothing wrong with that. But my activity seems kind of aimless, maybe purposeless. I'm just working, but something still feels wrong. The second picture is called Discovering Footprints.
A tangle of thorny bushes, the faint murmur of running water. But here and there are footprints. Is this the right path? If you want to pierce its nose and tie it up, do not rely on someone else's strength.
This picture shows the young man finding some footprints. Doesn't know where they go, but there's an ox around here somewhere. And he's off chasing the tracks. In this stage of development, the practitioner might be, maybe exploring, reading some self-help books, or just trying to find something, but they really don't know where they're going. There's not really a bunch of direction. They're just following this path, but they don't know where it might head, whether or not it's the right one. They don't know where they're going. But they might be reading a lot of stuff. Their practice is confined to books and theories, not really about changing one's life. The third picture is Seeing the Ox.
Among willow branches swaying in the spring breeze, an oriole is singing. How can the sparrow experience his joy in calling to his mate? Isn't the moonlight glimmering in the forest my home?
And this picture usually shows the young man sees an ox in the bushes, but not the whole thing, just sees it for the first time. For the practitioner of Zen, at this stage of development, they're starting to see some things in a different way. They're starting to see that maybe how I've lived my life or what I've seen in my life maybe isn't the truth. Maybe there's a different perspective that I've been missing for a long time, and they're starting to see something different. They don't know how to change yet, but they're just suspicious that the things that they've carried around in their head, their perceptions, misperceptions, maybe aren't quite right. I never saw that before. Why didn't I notice that? And they see this beast off in the brush, it's a wild, kind of magnificent beast, but wild. The fourth picture is catching the ox.
Advancing with difficulty, the ox's nose is pierced, but this fiery nature is hard to control. Dragged here and there, you stray through cloud-covered forests.
And this picture shows the young man lassoing the ox, and the ox is dragging him along. He finds out that the ox is wild and strong. In this state, the practitioner might be trying to do something like meditation and finding that it's really very hard to do. You're supposed to just focus on your breathing and not think about anything. Well, after not thinking about anything, you are trying to do that, you understand that it's kind of a jungle in there. Yes, it's very difficult. But you work harder at it. You establish goals. You really are disciplined about it, and you're focused. You try to measure your progress. You know, the SMART goal thing. Is it specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound? You're really focused on this, and you're having a hard time. The next picture, picture number 5. Taming the ox.
Fearing that it may fall into a steep and perilous path, you hold it tight with whip and bridle, and with the strength of both legs firmly hold your ground. Once past this critical moment, the ox comes following you.
In this picture, the young man is leading the ox by a rope. He's not pulling the ox. The rope isn't taut. It isn't under tension, but he hasn't let go of it either. The young man begins to trust himself in his practice of Zen. And he realized that subduing is not taming. Taming is not subduing. He relaxes. No effort is really required. We loosen our grip, but we don't let go. We begin to see that we do have some agency. We have some control over this magnificent beast. The next picture is riding the ox.
Sitting astride the ox, the noble person happily returns. The sounds of his flute mingle with the crimson sky. He has discovered the garden of joy. Who else could know about this endlessly pleasurable taste?
This picture shows the young man sitting on the ox. There's no rope. He's not holding on to any rope. He's playing a flute, sometimes a harmonica. He doesn't tell the ox where to go. The ox knows where to go. There's no needs for goals or methods or practices. For the first time, he sees that himself and the ox are really not separate, but one and the same. He begins to feel kind of in harmony with the 10,000 things. In China, they call everything the 10,000 things. He's beginning to see things not in terms of duality, but in non-duality. Duality being there's me and there's an ox. Now he's beginning to see things as more one and the same. Again, to be in harmony with the 10,000 things. And with nothing to do, no methods, no goals, he can be intuitive, creative, and just play his flute. He can be spontaneous. It's at this stage where he's starting to really discover the garden. The next one, next picture, the ox forgotten.
Bright moon and cool wind, what a splendid home. Sitting all alone, the ox has gone away. Even if you doze until sunrise, what use would be a whip and bridle?
In this picture, there is no ox. It's usually a young man sitting outside, staring at the moon. He realizes the final duality is that the ox itself was merely a means to an end. That the practice and you are one, the practice itself, so that there really is no practice. There's no longer separated. It's who you are. The song is you. As Master Kusan used to say, you are one with the question. It is the question that walks, goes to the toilet, looks at the countryside, the ox forgotten. The eighth picture is both ox and self transcended.
Since space has collapsed, how can obstacles remain? Could a snowflake survive inside a burning flame? You cheerfully come and go. How could you not always laugh?
This is my favorite picture. Though no Zen practitioner would ever say they have a favorite picture. They would all say they don't exist. But in this picture, it's just a blank circle, both ox and self transcended. Nothing is independent or permanent. And although we conceptualize things like birth and death, these concepts are arbitrary. In a larger way, you can conceptualize it that every day is your birthday. Happy birthday. Every day. Just as our thoughts and feelings come and go, on a larger scale, so do we. And just as you can't step into the same river twice, we aren't who we are moment after moment. And ultimately, there really is no fixed I or we at all. All things are change. All things are waxing and waning, becoming and unbecoming. We realize that everything comes out of emptiness, which is endless transformation. In the movie The Little Buddha, there's a scene where the monk is teaching an American guy about Buddhism, and he's holding a cup of tea. And he smashes it against the table. And he says, now the cup is no longer a cup. Yet the tea is still tea. Whether in the cup, on the table, on the floor, it moves from one container to another, but it is still tea. And eventually you could drink the tea and it becomes part of you. At this stage of the practice, the practitioner starts to eliminate concepts, conceptualization of things. It's like a layer of veneer that we put over reality, how we conceptualize reality. It's when we realize there is no other shore. There is no Buddha. There is no Buddhahood. If you've ever heard the saying, if you see the Buddha, kill the Buddha, that's this. Don't try to Don't let the idea of Buddha, following Buddha be as a mentor, be the end in itself. It's beyond that. There's a book, Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse, where there's two friends. One goes off and practices with the Buddha for years and years and years. And the main character, Siddhartha, lives his life and has all kinds of ups and downs. But eventually he becomes, I think he becomes a ferry boat, ferries people across the river. But he achieves enlightenment, whereas his friend, who comes back to him and has followed Buddha for years, never really does. Doesn't quite get there. Because kind of his friend kind of adored the Buddha, whereas Siddhartha kind of saw beyond. The next picture, returning to the source. Why is my thing not working? There we go. Returning to the source.
My very own treasure is recovered, all those efforts spent in vain. It would have been better to be blind, deaf, and dumb. The mountains and water are just as they are. So is the bird among the flowers.
In this picture, there's no person, there's nobody. It's usually a nature scene, a tree with a stream flowing by it, blooming flowers, a bird. There's no need to go to Jersey. There's no need to go to Nirvana. All that is required is a change in perspective, a change in focus. We don't dwell in the emptiness that we know that is true. We dwell in the reality of the here and now, of the 10,000 things. If you ever see statues of Buddha, you will often see him sitting in meditation, but in many of those poses, his right hand, I believe, is touching the earth. Okay? Some of them are touching the earth. And what's that indicative of is that we are of this place. This is reality, this world. So he's encouraging us to stay and live here in this place. In the world, in this world. To experience life with our senses, but seeing things as they are, not as we wish to see them. The world is us and we are the world. The 10th and final picture is called In the World.
Ragged and barefooted, you approach the market and the streets. Even covered in dust, why would the laughter cease? The bees and butterflies are happy because flowers have bloomed on a withered tree.
In this picture, usually shows what's called the fat, happy Buddha strolling through town, carrying a knapsack full of goodies and giving them to children, giving the goodies to children. We're in the world. We are active participants here in the world. We dwell in freedom. We see things as they are, which is wisdom. We listen to others and we're always extending compassion because the world does have suffering that needs to be acknowledged. We're not concerned with appearances. We're adaptable. And we see everything as spiritual.
In an effort to fulfill and further the vision and mission of this congregation, we ask that our members and friends share of their time, treasure, and talents. And with this, we will gratefully receive the offering. You may also give using the Givelify app.
Thank you, Alex. Your playing is beyond conceptualization. It truly is. It's great. We accept this sacred offering generously given by our beloved members and friends. May we use it wisely and judiciously in service to our mission.
Please begin by finding a comfortable seated position with your spine straight, eyes gently closed or gazing towards your nose. Take a deep breath in. Exhale slowly. Repeat this process 2 more times, allowing your breath to become slow and deep. Now bring awareness to your body. Start at the crown of your head. Scan down through your body, noticing any areas of tension or discomfort. As you exhale, release any tension you find and let go of any discomfort. Next, bring your awareness to your breath. Notice the sensation of the air moving in and out of your nose. Focus your attention on the breath as it moves in and out, allowing all other thoughts to pass by like clouds in the sky. As you continue to breathe deeply and rhythmically, allow your mind to become still and calm. If any thoughts arise, simply acknowledge them without judgment, and then let them go as you return your focus to your breath. Feel a sense of peace and tranquility washing over you as you sit in this quiet, present moment. Allow yourself to simply be, without any need to do or achieve anything. Take a deep breath in. And let's exhale slowly. Gently open your eyes and take a moment to notice how you feel. Carry this sense of calm and inner peace with you as you go about your day. And now for our closing hymn, number 1031. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Before Immeasurable's prayer, may all beings have true happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings be one with the highest perfect joy. And may all beings dwell in equanimity, free from discrimination and attachment. Go in peace and enjoy your week.
My daughter was reading it recently. Good to see.